Hello, and welcome to the Guilbault Girls Show, where you will have the opportunity to hear from mothers, fathers, siblings, and individuals themselves about their journey of living with a disability. I know, it's called Guilbault Girls, but we have a bonus for you as we get the Guilbault boys to interview some of the dads and siblings and get their perspectives too. We'll also have special guests from time to time to share the many resources that are available to those living with a disability and their families. So get ready to laugh, smile, cry, maybe even get a little angry when you hear some of these stories of their day-to-day struggles. But let's not forget their many triumphs. As they say, it takes a village. And if it weren't for our village, we wouldn't be where we are today. So join us. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Guilbault Girls. I'm your host, Karen Guilbault, along with my daughter,
Faith, and today we have our friend Sam.
Yep, and today's guest is Sam Mitchell. Sam is an entrepreneur through and through. He's a motivational speaker, writer, blogger, and runs a very successful podcast called Autism Rocks and Rolls. He even has a TED Talk called Soul Structure. Sam wants you to know that he is a high-functioning human being on the autism spectrum and wants to share his mission with you, which is to show people that he is not broken. He does not need to be fixed. There is no normal in this world, and that he is successful and that he has autism. He wants to celebrate the successes of all people. He embraces who he is and feels that everyone should do the same. His mission is one that is extraordinarily powerful, and it's catching on and getting the world's attention. So with that, welcome, Sam. I just have to say how excited we are to have you on the show. I've listened to several of your podcasts that you've hosted, along with others that you've been a guest on. And I'm just so impressed by your drive and your ambition to share the mission. So thank you for being on the show.
Well, good to be here. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So let's dive right in. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how old you are, where you live, and do you have any siblings?
Well, first of all, not the siblings. I think I'd kill someone if I did have siblings.
Oh my gosh.
I just know myself well enough. But anyway, hello everyone out there. My name is Sam Mitchell. I run the podcast, Autism Rocks and Rolls, and I ran it since October 2019. It's about autism. It's about autism and how we cope with daily struggles that you may or may not understand. I ran it since October 2019. I've had big guests such as Temple Grandin and professional wrestler Mick Foley. And I've got to have a TED Talk, as you said, but I get to now a board of 5 because it's grown so much and developed sponsors. And I also made motivational speaker. I've spoken in Oklahoma, Orlando, and Canada, and done several schools. And for the listeners out there, I will help refer back. Check out one of their previous episodes with my friend BJ Yoho on there, because that's actually how I found these people. So.
Yes, we had such an awesome interview with BJ. He's awesome.
They're very likable people, seriously.
Yeah. So do you go to high school with BJ? How do you know BJ?
That was through, basically, we grew up together.
Okay.
We've been friends since birth. I mean, now I wouldn't call it diapers, but I call it close to diapers.
That's so awesome. That is awesome. And how old were you when you were first diagnosed with autism?
I always get confused which one comes first, so give me a second.
No, you're fine.
So the reason I have a peanut allergy, I was diagnosed with that at 2 or 4. I can never remember. So sometimes they get them mixed up. I know peanut allergy came first. Okay, peanut allergy was the first one. Autism was at 4.
Okay. All right. And can you share some of the struggles that you faced during, or faced during the different years, in school? And how did you overcome some of them?
Well, I was wondering about that. I thought of a situation. It goes back to the previous guest, BJ, you had. So a lot of times BJ was very included in a lot of stuff and just a lot of social activities, and people would talk to him. I mean, heck, I'll admit he was treated like a king. I wasn't. I was getting excluded. I dealt with a lot of stereotyping, bullying. They just thought I was different. Just thought it'd be easier just to not chat with me, or I had to be associated with someone in order to get to be talked to.
Right.
And to be honest with you, I wasn't mad at that. I was just frustrated. I wasn't mad at him or really anyone. I was just frustrated at the situation.
Exactly.
Mhm.
You know, so I mean, and knowing how you feel and how you felt, what advice would you give others out there on how to treat people?
Well, honestly, just to be nice. That's honestly with kindness and respect. That's all they want. I want. It's what really everyone in this world really wants is some sense of dignity.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Which came first, your podcast or your speaking engagements?
Podcast.
The
So the
podcast?
podcast just happened. It just started as a plain old hobby through my high school's media club, where BJ was actually in too. I actually kind of thought it was up his alley, so I thought I'd give it a try. But I think out of them, I was the most interested in it. Just
Mm-hmm.
telling my opinion here. They were interested in it too, but I think I was the most interested. And I decided to continue my own media skills and start my own podcast, Autism Rocks and Rolls. Initially, it was just gonna be like a shindig. I expected a few hits here and there, yada yada yada, woohoo. But little did I know, it grew after I got sponsors and more people hopped on, and we saw crap, this is growing. So we had like a family meeting, and it turned to a nonprofit where I have the board and the speaking gigs.
That's amazing. So when you did this through your club in school, did the people at school actually kind of mentor you, or did you have any other mentors to kind of help you with what kind of equipment to get out there and
Yeah, I would say
how to
so. I
market
mean,
it?
I would definitely say with the basis, it was Scott Carmichael, who's a board member, and we respect him to death. Huge shout out to him. And then I've had the privilege of having some board members help me get this equipment going and building the train, I guess what you call it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would also say a lot to advance it. I got to be in an internship once upon a time with another, like, not Ivy professor, but kind of a guy who worked in the field,
Mm-hmm.
and he took me under his wing, and definitely a shout out to him.
That's awesome. And how about Faith? What were you going to ask him about? If it came natural to him with the public speaking, or?
I think you got the part covered.
Yeah, well, so did it come naturally to you with when it came to public speaking, like when you do your engagements, or does it take you a while to prepare it? How do you prepare what stories you're going to tell and what you're going to
Well, it
share?
depends on what people want. Really, I mean, each one's different. I mean, there was in Canada, it was all about technology. So I had to kind of like shift technology into autism and make it why it helps technology. I have my own view. I think it's both. But I had to be, pro technology for this. Otherwise, I probably would have gotten killed. Orlando was Podfest. So I had to focus on the podcasting part of what I did. So it all depends on what the situation is and if it's an autism, podcasting, business one. It all depends on the circumstances.
Okay. All right. What advice or tips would you have for others out there that are wanting to dive into public speaking or starting a podcast?
Not care what others think. That's the biggest problem with public speaking is there's so much they care. Like they're afraid they're going to get judged on the stage, before the stage, after stage. And while I understand though why I got judged, heck, I got made fun of once because I was because of public speaking and doing a great speech. So, and I was at a point where I did care, but you had to learn not to care in order to get there. So that's where it kind of got.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Say that again.
The most important thing is just to be yourself.
Right. Just be yourself and be authentic, because that's how you hook people in, because they see how authentic you are and how real you are, and they can relate, and they I think that's great advice. Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about, well, you already kind of covered how you prepare for your speaking engagements. When you do your interviews and stuff, like with me, I always end up, I do some research and I pull together some questions and I send it to them ahead of time, just more so for me, so it can kind of keep me on task on what to cover, or if I forget about something, I have it right in front of me. But there's no right or wrong way. Do you prep like that, or you just kind of get the guest on and just let it flow and keep it going and ask questions on the spot? How do you set up with your podcasts?
You say this is for me getting interviewed or me interviewing?
For you interviewing your guests. Yeah, for you interviewing your guests.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are a list of questions I have right here. It's kind of hard to see. Like the sections right here.
Okay.
However, sometimes they jumble around. I know what I'm editing currently before I came on here. The questions were very jumbled. Some didn't even get to be on the list, but there's 5. Like if you look at the notes here, the first 5, like right here, I always ask them. It's basically about your, disease, disorder, whatever you're storing. What does being an ex-convict mean to you? What is this? What are your initial thoughts? How do you think this type of person's brains operates? Most typical. What's your advice? And then the last, and it's like personal favorites. So like, because I'm a personal guy, I want to know the guest itself. So I always, because I'm a big eating guy, I always guess like favorite food, just because that's just who I am.
I could eat like
vacation and any memories that you have.
That's awesome. So what is your favorite food?
Buffalo wings.
Buffalo wings? All right. But how about you, Faith? What's your favorite food?
I'd have to say brownies, mint Oreos, and strawberries.
That's good. That's a good answer. I'm a big sweets guy too, but my sweets ice cream.
Yeah, she just got a little ice cream maker thing for Christmas, so they went out and bought. Yeah, so
I'm obsessed with
milkshakes. The names are creamy.
I get one every Friday from Wawa.
Yeah, she gets milkshakes every Friday from Wawa, so that she got the mixer one. So then they went out and got all the stuff and all the fixings to throw in and blend it up. She was excited when she got that.
I cannot not be doing something, otherwise I'm all over the place.
This is
self-occupied. That's how I am, sweetheart. I'll give you that.
Yeah, and she's bored because she actually has off from school for she doesn't go back until Monday, so she has 2 weeks off. So she like doesn't know what to do with herself. She said yesterday, she's like, "Oh my gosh," she's like, "I feel like it's COVID all over again, and we're shut down. I'm like stuck in the house and nowhere to go or nothing to do."
I had that same thought too at some point. Mine was just stressful as crap, but I made it through.
I go to middle school for the blind, which is a private school, so they make their own rules.
Yes.
So I should be grateful, but
yeah, all the other public schools, they only had off for the week. Her school, since it's a private school, they actually have off 2 weeks. So yeah.
You guys are more than happy to put in a word at that school. I don't mind. I mean, I do cost to travel, but I don't mind flying in and speaking to that school.
That's awesome.
If interested.
I go to middle school for the blind.
Yep. So what about vacations? What are some of your favorite vacations?
Well, I'm a big tropical guy. Big like heat. Ironic BJ and I always have this funny argument where he likes the cold. I like the heat. Always been like that. Big heat guy. And my favorite place probably I've been to is down south Destin, Florida. It's pretty, but it's also like seafood, tropical stuff to do there. The right amount. So good hotels, and you never leave complaining.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll admit it. A while back, my mother and father went because I got burnt out. But I went there 3 times, and for me to go to somewhere 3 times, that's saying something.
Okay. Yeah. Are you still in school or are you out of school at this point?
I'm in college.
You're in college. Okay. And how's your college experience? Okay. And how's your experience there?
Well, I mean, I do better online because personally I cannot follow along.
Mm-hmm. I
have a lot of trouble time with that. Is following along with teachers and instructors if the pace is not either slow or slow moderate, I guess is what you call it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell us how many podcasts have you recorded so far? And share with us some of the stats and awards that you've accomplished, because you blew me away with that when I was looking at it.
Oh, okay. We can try and remember that. So I've been nominated for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. I placed second. Well, hold on, let me think. Yep, second in the Region 8 state for like the JAG program, which is like Jobs for American Graduates. When they get to Autism Rocks and Rolls, like second place, but I won my region completely. I guess, but according to the facilitator, I decimated on
Right.
that, and I don't mean that and I try to mean that in the nicest way possible. So that's one of the awards I got to win, and apparently somehow, I don't know how I know this, I don't know how I figured it out, but I'm in the top 200 podcast in Canada.
That is awesome. So tell us, I know I had read down that you had over 8,000 downloads. At what point would you say that the podcast really took off? And was it anything you did specifically that led it to take off, or it just...
Sponsors. That's your honest answers. After the sponsor day, I call, where we went around and asked sponsors and to see if they were interested. I couldn't believe the number of them out. There was probably 2 places that were interested in Bloomington. We conquered everywhere in Bloomington pretty much, and I'm not going to lie to you with that. We really, really did. Every business you can probably think of in Bloomington, we did. But I didn't think it would be a lie. I thought there'd be like 0 sponsors. However, I was wrong. There was 2 that were interested. One was a chocolate shop, and one was a tattoo parlor.
Okay. So do you, how many sponsors do you have now? Because you have quite a bit.
You have to look at the website. I can't count on one hand. You put it that way.
That's awesome. And so most of them you've reached out to yourself, and now you're having some sponsors contact you too, right?
Yep. One of them I know, some was local though, like Owensburg Auto. He wanted to hop aboard, so we figured we'd give him a spot. I know some, I do a lot of speed networking. It's kind of like speed dating, but you're networking and talking to people. A couple of them I reached through there because they were interested. And it's just that others wanted to help because I think they see this going somewhere, and
Yeah.
I see this going somewhere too, but I don't know where the end line is with it.
Right. The mission and the movement, that's awesome. So I have to say that I listened to one of your podcasts, and I started laughing out loud. It was hysterical when, I don't know who it was, but the gentleman had asked about, what your thoughts were if people wouldn't listen all the way through, if you had a lot of sponsors in the opening of your interviews. And you said something like, you're like, buddy, that's what a fast forward button is for. I started laughing. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, this kid is brilliant.
Because it's true. Because people are complaining. It was like, how about podcasting hosts, how they grow their podcasts? It was definitely a cool one. But I said there's a fast forward button because I don't get to complaining, because there's some to it. You can fast forward the commercials. You can fast forward sponsors. You don't want to hear that part. Skip it.
Yep.
I mean, I would understand complaining. I would understand complaining about it if it didn't exist. I would 100% get it. But it's right there. Not a lot of effort to do.
Yep. I was like, oh my gosh, that was brilliant. What were you going to say, Faye?
When I was little, I didn't want to do things, and so they had this "that was easy" button, and I would press it.
Oh yeah, the little button says that was easy.
Oh, I have that. I think I still have that here, but I think it doesn't work with batteries anymore.
Uh-huh. Yep. So what advice would you give to others, other podcasters out there when it comes to getting sponsors? Like,
well, going out and asking is one way. Speed networking is another way, because you never know who you'll meet. And I would probably say pick people within your area. I mean, if they're close to that area, then you never know.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely say asking around and stepping outside even your state, kind of virtually if that's possible.
Good advice. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Now think about it.
That's a lot of thinking, because I'm like the type of guy who likes to take it one day at a time. The future, though, I'm aiming to do something where I don't know if you've seen Monster Jam before, but on TV, it's on TV, but apparently what I did not know is Monster Jam is really cool. They have these like local reporters like asking, hey, how you enjoy your time, yada, 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 all that. That's something I'm considering doing. Or I'm considering, wrestling reporting. Like you see people in the suit and ties or the commentary table, doing that, or doing this even. I mean, don't really know about that, but those are the 3 pools we're opening, I guess what you call.
I could totally see you doing that. That's pretty cool. So how could someone find you, and what would they need to do if they wanted to be a guest on your podcast? Or to even have you book you to be a speaker?
Yep. There's a lot of different steps. So to book speaking, you really just need to contact me. You can contact me via info@Autism Rocks and Rolls, or I have a Calendly link you can schedule me with, and we'll chat, see what you guys want or want to work or collaborate, because that's something we are always open to do, is collaborating with anyone if it's a good fit.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And I'll make sure that I put the that information in the show notes too. Is there anything you would like to share before we wrap it up?
Well, I mean, first of all, thank you for coming on. I appreciate the time that you offered for me, and I hope that if you ever want to talk again, we can definitely chat again.
Awesome. Well, we wish you nothing but the best. And hopefully one day you'll be up in our area to speak. So before we go, though, I always gift my guests with a little token that I hand stamp with a hammer and individual letters. And I put their word into the token, and then I either put it on a keychain or a bracelet. Words are very powerful and meaningful. They can be great reminders, to see, on a daily basis.
I chose fearless because I've been through a lot, and I think it shows that. So.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to see what.
So I'll give you, that's a good word.
What word would you, if you could choose one word, what word would that be, and why? Why do you choose it?
Well, I mean, you got to think out of the box. Okay, let's go with this one. You can do one out of 2. You can do glory or glorious. Okay,
and can you share why you chose that word?
Well, I was kind of thinking, and I go down the list, and one, it's involved with wrestling, because I was thinking of a wrestling theme song that's called Glorious. That's where the inspiration was, but I guess it's glorious, but I chose glorious because what my life has been through like a mess, and at the end of the day, it was basically filled with glory and fulfillment, even though there was some dark times in it.
That is awesome. Thank you for joining us, and I'll have all Sam's information in the show notes. And until next time, thanks. Thank you for joining us as we spread awareness through our personal stories and the many resources shared. You can help us by joining our village simply by sharing our show to the masses. If you would like to support the Guilbault Girls on another level, click on the link in the show notes to make a donation in any amount. Add your address and you'll receive a hand-stamped token with the word village on it in appreciation. Be sure to subscribe to our Guilbault Girls podcast and YouTube show, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram @Guilbault Girls. Till next time.